In today's video we will discuss the top 10 star athletes who had bitter fallouts with their teams. Please make sure you subscribe to the Top 10 Jaw-Dropping Facts channel. New episodes are released Monday through Friday. Let's see which athletes have fallen out with their team. In the world of sports, the saying goes, it was all good just a week ago. Number 10. Deshaun Watson. The Houston Texans were a basket case of a franchise as their 2020 trade of Pro Bowl receiver Deandre Hopkins displayed. But things became worse for them in 2021 when J.J. Watt finally left. Finally, their franchise quarterback Watson decided that he was sick of life in Texas and wanted to leave for a fresh start. This came after the best individual quarterback season in the history of the franchise. Watson was open to a move to the New York Jets and the Miami Dolphins amongst other teams. But then a series of sexual assault allegations broke and immediately tarnished Watson's reputation. Did we mention the lawyer representing the victims is the same lawyer for the Houston Texans owner? And all of the 5 to 7 year allegations came out after Watson wanted out of Texas. Watson was found not guilty by a Houston juror and afterward went on to sign a 5-year, $230 million contract with the Cleveland Browns. Did I mention all of the money is guaranteed? Number 9. Brett Favre. The Green Bay Packers have enjoyed some incredible quarterbacks throughout their history. Before Aaron Rodgers entered the scene, Favre was the man in Titletown. One of the best of his generation, fans adored the signal caller. However, his relationship with the franchise became bitter after they replaced him with Rodgers following his departure from Lambeau. The problem was that Favre decided to return from retirement after hanging up his cleats. It wasn't the first time that he pulled this stunt. But the Packers were already settled on starting Rodgers and told him that they were happy to trade him elsewhere. Favre ended up with the Jets and Vikings later on. He held a grudge against Green Bay for the remainder of his career. Number 8. Eric Lindros. Technically, Lindros never played for the Quebec Nordiques after they drafted him in 1991. But he went down the Eli Manning route of refusing to play for the franchise because he wanted to be with an English-speaking team. He thought that this would make him more marketable. Finally, the Philadelphia Flyers successfully traded for the rising star, and he moved south of the border. It was a bitter fallout, but arguably the Nordiques and their fans had the last laugh. Just 4 years later, they moved to Colorado and became the Avalanche. Within a couple of seasons, the franchise won 2 Stanley Cups while Lindros never won the coveted prize. However, he did win an MVP award in 1995, so there was some joy for the volatile Canadian star. Number 7. Josh Hamilton. There aren't many baseball trades on this list, but Hamilton had a significant fallout with the Texas Rangers after he left for LA. After many years of personal success in Texas, including an AL MVP year, Hamilton moved to the Angels. Then, he made some unfortunate comments about the structure of the franchise and his former teammates. This didn't please the fans who enjoyed some schadenfreude after Hamilton suffered personal issues in Anaheim. Finally, he returned to Texas with his tail between his legs. But he patched up his relationship with the team, and he received a standing ovation from the fans. However, injuries marred his comeback in Texas, and finally, after 3 seasons, they released him. Number 6. Lionel Messi. One of the most famous athletes in global sports history, Messi is a phenomenal soccer player. He spent his entire career with Barcelona, effectively winning everything on offer in the game. However, all was not well behind the scenes and he became embroiled in a bitter dispute with the club's leadership. Then, in 2020, he rocked the world by handing in a transfer request. This was a massive story because nobody knew who could afford him and whether or not he was serious. Many believed it was a power play from Messi and finally, he stayed at the club. Number 5. Joe Montana. Montana is one of the most iconic quarterbacks in NFL history. He epitomizes everything much of what is great about football. For much of a certain generation, he is the greatest QB in league history, not Tom Brady. Montana built his reputation with the San Francisco 49ers as he won 4 Super Bowls with the franchise. However, an elbow injury cost him 2 seasons and Steve Young emerged to surpass him. The Niners were set to continue with Young as their starter after Montana returned, but this infuriated him. He refused to accept being a backup and demanded a trade. However, San Francisco was aware of the PR nightmare that was about to happen and tried to reinstate him. But it was too late because the divide was too bitter. Then, they sanctioned a trade to the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 4. Scottie Pippen. Pippen was the Robin to Michael Jordan's Batman during the Chicago Bulls' heyday. The pair won 6 NBA championships together and Pippen was a 6-time All-Star. Meanwhile, he won the Olympics and the NBA championship in the same year on 2 occasions. This is a unique achievement. Pippen was an all-time great, but the Bulls didn't pay him like one. Jerry Krause lured Pippen into a notorious deal where the franchise grossly underpaid him. Pippen was desperate to ensure security for his family and foolishly signed up. However, as he developed and saw inferior athletes enjoying much bigger salaries, he felt bitter resentment toward the Bulls and Krause in particular. As soon as he was able to escape, he did. Number 3. LeBron James. The decision is one of the most notorious moments in U.S. sports history. It resulted in a bitter fallout between James and the Cleveland Cavaliers because he announced his decision to move to Miami. King James wanted to pursue an NBA championship ring and didn't believe that he would succeed in Ohio. However, fans didn't see it this way and many burnt his jerseys. Eventually, James returned with 2 NBA rings and won another with Cleveland to ease the fan pain. Then, he departed again for Los Angeles in less bitter circumstances after securing redemption. Meanwhile, former Cavs GM Dave Griffin shredded James after he departed and said that he hated building a team around the star. To sum up, his relationship with Cleveland is definitely a love and hate one. Number 2. Tom Brady. The most successful player in NFL history, Brady is a New England Patriot icon. When he finally retires, there is no doubt that he will return to Foxborough to end it all as a Pat. But the reality is that he left the franchise for Tampa Bay under a cloud. His relationship with head coach Bill Belichick became bitter for a variety of reasons. In the end, Brady's position became untenable. The pair had a cold, functional working relationship, but they were not on personal terms. Brady was also furious after Belichick banned the quarterback's personal trainer from the team plane. Meanwhile, incidents like Deflategate didn't help the pair to rekindle their connection. Brady and Belichick are consummate pros, so they didn't allow it to interfere on the field. But they didn't like each other. Number 1. Aaron Rodgers. A Green Bay Packers stalwart, it's impossible to salvage Rodgers playing for another franchise. However, the legendary quarterback arguably underachieved in Wisconsin. The fact that he only won a single Super Bowl with Green Bay is a bitter reality for the former MVP. As a 9-time Pro Bowler, Rodgers is one of the most recognizable and respected players in the NFL. However, in 2021, he rocked the league when he demanded a trade. This came during the NFL draft and was one of the most notorious moments of the weekend. The Denver Broncos immediately sat up and took notice while Green Bay desperately scrambled to appease their superstar. It was and is a messy situation for the franchise and a demonstration of player power from Rodgers. Then he broke NFL protocols by lying about being vaccinated when he was not. Rodgers was in teammates, coaches and opposing teams' faces without wearing a mask. He was suspended for this. After all of this, Rodgers' temper tantrum self was able to force a desperate Green Bay into a contract of $150 million over 3 years. But in the process, they lost Davante Adams because Adams realized Green Bay were being difficult with paying him but had no problem breaking their necks to pay Rodgers. If you're a Green Bay fan, it's going to be a long season without your star receiver who has led the team in catches and touchdowns. I hope you enjoyed our top 10 star athletes who had bitter fallouts with their teams. Please leave a comment below for any athlete you think we missed or you think should have been placed on the list. Don't forget to subscribe to the Top 10 Jaw-Dropping Facts channel. And new episodes release every Monday through Friday.